Welcome to episode 10 of Speak Podcast. Guys, it's exciting. Episode 10. Like, we didn't give up. We're here. We're live. Today we have, of course, Luca.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Luca. I'm looking forward to the show today. Got my brother from RDX on. It's going to be a good one. It's our 10th episode. I am so happy that we made it here, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who's listened and supported it. You guys are great.
And our special guest today is Jay.
Hey, what's up? It's very good to be here. I'm happy to be here because this show is just awesome. I've been listening to it now for the last 3-4 weeks, and it's amazing. What you guys do here is really, really special.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by. We're really excited to have you on, and we're really excited to get into all the shenanigans today. I mean, of course, you guys know, if you've been here before, we get into some bullshit. We have some interesting topics. Of course, anytime the topics get heavy, you're welcome to walk away, come back later, because sometimes it does get a little bit much. But that's what we do here. Real talk all day long, every day. Just Sundays, actually. But let's get into it. Our first segment, of course, as you guys know, are the questions. Here we talk about, we answer the questions that we have come up with this week. And it's quite interesting because you'll learn so much more about us and our guest. So I enjoy it. I mean, you know, sometimes we have weird questions. So let's get with the first one. Would you rather ride a bike, ride a horse, or drive a car? Luca, what's your answer?
Well, I'd rather ride a guy. I mean,
oh my God. It has begun.
Ride a bike. I'd rather
Why?
ride a bike. I like bike riding. I think it's fun. I don't do it very often. I used to do it a lot when I was a kid. I would go bike riding with my siblings, but I think it's fun. The last time I tried to ride a horse was like in elementary school, and it traumatized me, so I don't want to go back to that. And I'm sorry, what was the last one? Ride a car?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you know I can't drive, so no, like absolutely not.
Is it weird that I'm surprised that you know how to ride a bike?
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm not completely incompetent, but okay.
Yeah, okay.
What oh my God.
I mean, based on your driving skills, I'm surprised that you're able to ride a bike.
Just say have to do with riding a bike. Those are completely different.
Kind of like, not.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with it, but okay. Do you even know how to drive? Do you have your license?
Whoa,
like, shots? Public transportation.
Shots?
I'm just saying.
What? Excuse me.
I'm just saying.
I know how to drive. I just don't have a license. Because.
Oh, okay. So how do you know if you know how to drive?
Because I've driven before.
Okay,
what the fuck you think this is?
Yeah, but like, how often you driven without a license? Oh,
yeah. Okay, I'm a rebel.
Breaking the law, huh?
Hell yeah, I break the law. I break the law every day with these good looks.
I bet I'm a better driver than
Just
you.
kidding.
Oh, what? Oh, okay. I mean, you do, though. Okay.
I'm trying to be like Luca and come up with these lines, but they don't quite work for me. So.
Nope, they don't.
All right, moving on. Would you rather ride a bike, ride a horse, or drive a car, Fonz?
Oh, that's easy. Car. All day. And that's because I want to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. I just, you know... I know it's about the journey, not the destination, but I want to get there as soon as possible. That's just me.
Okay, that sounds good. I think I would want to ride a horse just because it's pretty cool. I don't particularly think that it would work in real life, though, because I am allergic to horses and hay and shit, so that might not work. But I think horses are amazing creatures, so...
Scary.
They're awesome and they're strong as fuck. If a horse kicks you, dude, like you might die.
Yeah.
That's how strong they are. Look, I don't know. I think riding, I mean, it kind of reminds me of like, you know, Red Dead Redemption, like you're just like riding a horse. I mean, I haven't done that in a while. The last time I think I did that was like, yeah, maybe high school actually. We went on some field trip or some shit.
You mentioned Red Dead Redemption. That's my favorite game of all time. So
nice.
Yep, it is.
It's a good game. I'm excited for them to come out with another one, to be honest.
Haven't played it.
But horses are scary.
Wow.
I had a bad experience when I was about 12 on a horse.
Really?
I got up on my neighbor's horse. He brought it to his house, actually, one day. And he's like, yeah, you can ride it. I got up on the horse, and he was walking me around. Well, he let go of the reins, and I'm walking with it. And all of a sudden, it took off down the street. Oh, it scared the living crap out of me.
Oh, my God.
I thought I would die. After that, I didn't want to get around a horse again.
I wouldn't want to get on a horse either if that were me. That shit sounds fucking scary.
Yeah, it
Yep.
was
Agreed.
terrifying.
Look, I'm just gonna say that Luca likes to lie. Let's put this out there right now.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
This chat,
I've
if you
never
guys
lied
are
a day
not
in my
live,
life.
if you guys are not here live, you miss a lot of shenanigans in chat. So I'm just saying that that the chat gets lit. Luca likes to make up stories about
I'm
me.
not making up any stories.
You
Blue
just-
is a fan.
You just
Blue is
called me
fan of
a fan.
Blue is a fan of me. Okay,
Yo.
she listened to me once. Was like, "Oh, this bitch is amazing." I'm
We
like,
are
yes,
equals.
Yes,
We are
yes.
equals in this game. Okay, do not. Listen. Moving on. What's your favorite family recipe? Of course, doesn't have to be necessarily a family recipe that you pass down from generation to generation, but what's something that you like that you have usually with your family? Fonz, you want to go first? What's your favorite?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I grew up in the Philippines. I grew up for the first 7 years.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm really into Filipino food. Most of my family that I know is Filipino, and we make this dish called sinigang. A lot of Filipinos know it out there, and we have our own special way of making it. In my family, it's a tamarind-based soup. We put over rice. It's got spinach. It's got either fish or pork in it. It's tomatoes, all kinds of stuff. It's great. It's a fantastic dish. If you haven't had it, look it up and make it. It's wonderful.
Whoa, that's pretty cool that you grew up in the Philippines.
Yeah. Yeah. For 7 years. Yeah.
You must have experienced a lot of different kinds of foods, huh?
Yeah, I have.
Do they eat bugs over there? No, I'm just kidding.
That's
No,
so.
but
I'm just kidding. Last show we talked about bugs and eating bugs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe in some places they probably do. I don't know. I know they eat dog. I know they eat certain things over there that is normalized, so it's different over there than
Exactly.
here. That's kind of a legit question.
Exactly, Luca. God.
Mhm.
All
Okay,
right.
I'm sorry.
My favorite family recipe. So, I mean, you guys know that I'm Latina, so we eat like arroz y habichuela y, pernil.
Arroz. What is arroz?
Rice.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah, no, I know.
beans. I love that shit. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, pernil is amazing. It's just pork. But I think my favorite meal is lasagna. As weird as that is, we are not Italian, and
Departure
Hmm?
from such a departure from the Hispanic, food
I know.
that you.
It's just that, like, my mom used to make this bomb lasagna when I was younger, and then I basically took her recipe and made it into my own, and mine is better, just saying. So, Mom, I'm sorry, I love you, but my lasagna is better, okay? We have a little...
Oh, are you gonna make that for me when I come to see you?
Yeah, any excuse to make
Yeah.
lasagna. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
The problem I have is that I make too much of it, and I have a small fridge, and so I don't have any place to store it. And so, yeah, that's that issue.
Send it my way. I'm good with that.
I'll overnight you some lasagna.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's really good. Like, you Italians, thank you. Just saying. Oh boy, Luca, what's your favorite family recipe?
Well, my mom, sticking with the theme, my mom makes really good spaghetti. So I love when she doesn't make it very often. Actually, she doesn't cook very often anymore. She's like, aha, do your own stuff, fam. And I'm like, okay. But when I was younger, she would make really good spaghetti, and spaghetti's my favorite food, actually. So
Ooh.
that's yeah.
See, my thing about spaghetti is that, okay, there's the Italian way, but apparently there's a Latino way, and I thought it was just my mom that did this shit, but apparently other Latino families eat the same thing, and I don't like it. I'm like, why do you keep making this meal, mother, when I was younger? I would ask her, and she's like, "It's good. What do you mean?" But it's like they make the spaghetti with tomato sauce, but they put more seasoning in it, and it tastes different. And the sauce is not like super thick, and it's not super saucy, so it kind of just like overlaps the pasta, and then you eat it with rice. Like that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't know. And I'm just like, this is not spaghetti, okay? Yeah. I don't know what that was, but it.
Yeah, I just had spaghetti. I made some spaghetti last night, and it was wonderful.
I'm jealous.
I mean, as a vegetarian, you can eat lasagna as a vegetarian, right? Because there's like eggplant lasagna.
Yeah, there's different.
So go for it, dude. Don't think that you can't make something. There's definitely replacements for meat.
Yeah, eggplant lasagna is really good, by the way.
Never had it because I love my meat. Sorry. Anyway, moving on. I'm surprised Luca didn't say, whoa, whoa, whoa.
She laughed. I heard it.
She stopped herself.
I did stop myself. I didn't want you coming at me again.
You're so sweet, though.
Oh, my God. I love you, girl.
Next question. If there was anything you could change about your family dynamic, what would it be? Luca, what would yours be?
I'd like to get along with my family a bit more, especially my siblings. Like, I get along really well with my sister, but I don't like my brother very much, and I don't know how he feels about me, but it's whatever. And when we're all together, like when it's my mom and my brother and sister, it usually ends badly. Like, we all start fighting, and then my mom gets upset. So I wish we got along better. Like, it makes me feel envious, like, because Lady Fox, she gets along really well with her family, and every time she talks about it, I'm like, man, I wish I had that. So that's something I'd change.
Yeah, it's hard. I feel like for me, it's kind of the same thing. It's not that I don't get along with them in terms of like we always fight. It's just more that we don't really keep in touch with one another, and I kind of wish that we did at times, because I feel like I don't have a problem with you guys, you know, so I feel like we were closer. I think that it would be helpful, and I feel like, I don't know what it is, maybe it's the social media thing, but like no one tells me anything. So they'll be having a little get together, and they're like posting shit on Facebook, and then I see it, just so happen to, you know, be looking, because I'm never on Facebook, so I just so happen to be looking at this thing, and then they're like, oh, but, and I text them, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And they're like, oh, we didn't think you would come, or, oh, we posted it on Facebook, and I'm like, Facebook is not, I don't understand why people think this is a thing, but Facebook is not the formal way of communicating. Like, if you want to invite someone to a party, you tell them through, at least text them, you know? Or if something happened, like someone, I don't know, graduated or something, or someone is pregnant, like, why am I the last one to find out? And I find out through like the stupid ass ways, like a month later, by seeing someone post a picture, and I just so happen to come across it. I don't know, that's annoying.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick that social media has saved me from several things that I haven't wanted to do. Like this guy was having a party, and he invited me via Facebook, but I don't check Facebook ever, right? Mm-hmm. And it was actually my friends who were like, hey, are you going to this guy's party? I'm like, absolutely fucking not. I'm not going to that guy's party. And he asked me like last minute on a Saturday, and I was doing I was guesting on Next Podcast. Shout out to Xbot and Mel, I'm just saying. So I was like, oh, I can't go. But, you know, if he had just texted me earlier in the week, I would have been like, oh, maybe I'll make the effort to. But since he asked me last minute via text, then I was like, nah, fam. Nah.
Girl, you gotta start being a little bit meaner to people, I think.
Meaner? I've never been mean a day in my life. I can't.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta do it. Just be like, I'm not going to your fucking party.
Wow, that's rude.
I mean, look, that could have been bad, you know? You gotta save yourself.
I mean, I did. I was like, I'm not going, fam. I'm tired. So.
I mean, that's good. Yeah. What about you, Fonz? What would you change about your family dynamic?
If I could change anything, it would be the relationship I have with my mother. It's not very good at all. It's pretty toxic. So that's one thing I wish I could change.
Oh. I see. Yeah, I feel like that's interesting because we usually, I mean, with me at least, that issue that I have is with my dad more so than with my mom. I mean, I do have issues with my mom. That's a whole nother story. And it's funny because, like, when I thought about this question, I didn't think about changing the relationship I have with my dad for some reason. I mean, I'm not sure if it would have changed the way I am today as a person. I guess I have no desire to change it. But, you know, that's something we can talk about a little later.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we're going to delve deep into with some of these questions.
So let's move on to our next segment, which is our topic 1. As you guys know, our first topic is always a little lighter than usual. And what's interesting about this topic is that Repro sent it. Repro is a person that listens to the podcast. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's been sending all of them in, huh? He's the only one that's sending all of them. Like, he's the only one that sent topics in. So we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for that. If anyone else wants their topic to be featured, just comment down below and we will definitely add it to the show if it's something that, you know, works with what we're doing. This one just so happened to work perfectly. So the question is, if a friend or family member did something terrible to you, are you the type to forgive and forget, or is the relationship over for you? So Luca, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't forgive and forget. I don't forget, and I think that's like a huge issue with families in general, in the sense that, like I said, I don't get along well with my brother. He does a lot of really terrible things. He never gets in trouble for it, and people get really upset at him. But then, like, a week later, they'll give him money, or they'll let him go out, or they'll let him do whatever he wants, or they'll buy him stuff. And I'm like, well, of course he's not going to learn. He's just going to keep doing these terrible things, and it's going to be fine because everyone just forgives him for it, you know. But I don't forgive him for stuff, and I don't forget. And if he ever asks me for something and I say no, he's like, well, why? And I'm like, well, because you did this to me. He's like, oh. But, like, everyone in my family is like, whoa, it's not, I mean, you should let it go. You should forgive him. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care if you're family or not. I don't care if you're my friend. Like, if you do some shady shit, I'm gonna remember it, and I'm gonna, like, hold it against you. Facts.
Yeah. It's tricky because I think a lot of these things depend on what it is, you know. People make mistakes, you know, that it happens, especially family. We're all human. But, like, if someone's doing something on purpose, like, what the fuck? You know, I don't have time for that shit. I don't have time for people to treat me badly and me to just stick around and take it. Like, that's not how this works. I don't care if you're family. I don't care if you know, are my significant other. I don't care. I don't give a fuck who you are. You are not going to treat me like I'm a piece of shit. That's one. I feel like I have forgiven before. And again, it depends on what it is. But I definitely don't forget. I feel like if you forget, it opens the door for someone to do the thing again to you, you know?
Facts.
If you don't take precautions in the future after someone does something fucked up to you, then who do you blame if it happens again? You know, like that saying goes.
I'm sorry. No. You blame them because, okay, it's like, I remember I saw this a long time ago. It's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, still shame on you, because you shouldn't be fucking doing that shit. Like, it's not your fault if you want to be a forgiving person, okay? You can't blame the person who's willing to forgive and forget, you know? You blame the person who's hurting them. And it's not right to put it's not right to blame the person who decided to be like, you know what, I'll forgive you for this because I care about you. You should put a majority of the blame on the person who decided to screw them over again.
Right. But for me, honestly, like, being real right now, I would blame myself if I got treated if the same exact thing happened to me. From the same exact person, I would blame myself, just because I would probably tell myself, like, you should know better. I know it sucks, but it's just how I am. And I don't appreciate people doing, I mean, I agree completely. Like, people should not be fucked up to other people. Like, you I mean, treat, like, we learned this in elementary school, right? Treat people the way you want to be treated. Like, what the fuck? Don't do things to people if you know it's going to hurt them. If you know if someone did it to you, it's going to hurt you. Like, it's so simple.
Yeah, I have something to say real quick, and we'll get to you, Fonz, in a moment. But Neff asked in the chat, he's like, "How about the same question in reverse? If you did something terrible to your family, how would you come out and apologize? Would you atone for your sin?" You know, it's interesting.
I feel that, again, everyone makes mistakes, and I mean, I can't say for sure because I don't know the future, but I don't think I would be the one to do something on purpose to anyone, you know, that is fucked up, unless if I'm going through some shit, you know, and I make a mistake, I definitely feel like I would later on apologize and be like, look, you know, explain the situation and things like that. I'm not the type to deny it, but I guess I would hope that they would forgive me.
Yeah.
I feel like it's different.
It's always hard being the one in the wrong. I mean, I'm not wrong often, so it's not something I really have to deal with.
Lord, what do you think, Fonz?
What do you think, Fonz?
So I thought we were starting with a light topic. This is really heavy. It's really a heavy topic, especially for somebody like me who's been through quite a bit of issues and drama and stuff in my life with family. When I say that, I mean, it's very, very, like, the stuff I've been through has been very, very serious. And right now it's like, for me personally, I have been through depression. I've been through a lot of things over this stuff. And when I look back at all this stuff and what I've learned through going through these trials and tribulations, I know that's so cliche to say, but what I've learned from all this is that you have to forgive in your heart, number one, because all that does is just breed toxicity within you if you just keep holding on to negative feelings. But do I forget in my mind? No. And are there people out there that should be cut off in your life? Absolutely. 100%. You can't keep people, especially toxic people, negative people around in your life, because that's all it's going to breed. That's all it's going to breed within you. I mean, it rubs off when you're around toxic people. It definitely rubs off. And unfortunately, it's like, you know, it sucks when it's a family member. It really sucks. But it's, I think all of us, to a certain degree anyway, have those negative family members. It could be immediate family. It could be, you know, an uncle, a brother, a cousin or something. But we all have somebody who's that negative person, and you don't really want to be around them that often. And I think that's a good mindset to have. It's not bad to cut people off. You got to stay positive in this world to make it through, I think, especially if you go through really bad stuff. It's just, that's the way I look at it.
It's really important to think of this in terms of self-care. People forget oftentimes that you need to take care of yourself before you can worry about other people. You know how you're in a plane and it says if the plane's going down, make sure you put your mask on first before you help someone else, right? It's the same idea. Like, you cannot help anyone else if your shit is fucked up. Get your shit together first and then worry about other people. It's not selfish, because if you don't get your shit together first, you can't help other people.
Yeah, when you truly feel pain and hurt, when you feel that, you don't completely get over it. I don't care how strong you are. You don't completely get over it. But you've got to move forward, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. So in order to do so, you have to forgive in your heart, but you do not forget in your mind. You always keep that there. I mean, it's just the way it is. You always have a guard you put up after you've been really, truly hurt.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, especially if someone does the same thing over and over again, yes, for sure. People like to make an excuse for family members and say, oh, but it's family. Oh, but you know, you can't be that way because they're your this or that. No, I have an aunt, however you pronounce it, that is super toxic. And I mean, like, And she's aware of it because she does things and people, people forgive her. People are like, all right, no problem. She'll make an excuse for it. And then she does the same exact thing in a different situation with different people, but the same exact thing all over again. And it's the same fucking song and dance. And I don't understand why, for example, when my mom was hanging out with her the other day, because she came to visit, she doesn't live here, she lives in PR. I don't understand why my mom gets upset with me when she says, hey, come hang out with us. She sends me a picture and my aunt is in the picture. Number one, I didn't even know my aunt was in town. That's number one. So, surprise. See what I mean about Facebook teaching me things? Like, I didn't even. And then I go to her page and she has a whole bunch of pictures of my aunt there. Whatever. So, she's been here for like a week or a few days, almost a week, and I didn't know. So she's like, oh, come on, get whatever. I'm like, no, thanks. I would rather not hang out with that woman. And she's like, but what do you mean? That's your aunt. What do you mean? And I'm like, I don't want to. She's like, oh, but she's your tia. Like, you should be willing to hang out with us. She hasn't done anything to you, is what she said. And I was like, look, I know that she hasn't necessarily done anything to me that you know of, because she has done shit to me when I was younger. But I see what she does to everyone else. So I'm not going to put myself in that situation where a bitch might get slapped because I won't put up with that shit, Yeah. And I don't care if she's my aunt. Like, I don't care. Tia or no tia, she's not a good person. So I'm not going to be there when she decides I'm going to fuck up this person's life,
There's a guy in the chat, SageBot. I don't know how you say his name, but he was saying that he's compulsive. He feels the compulsion to help people all the time. And I just wanted to say that's a great thing to have, but there's some people you just cannot truly help. They have to try to help themselves, and they have to want the help to actually be helped. And because I've got so many people around me that do not wish to be helped. And unfortunately, like, I'm a very giving person, but if they don't want that help, they're not going to take it. They're not going to take it to heart. They may pretend sometimes like they're helping themselves and they're taking your advice and everything, but then they turn around and shit on you again. And until they get to that point where they are truly being honest with themselves, they're not going to want the help. So it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. It's life.
For sure.
And another thing is, like, if you consistently forgive someone who hurts you or does stuff to you, all you're doing is teaching them that it's okay for them to do whatever they want. Right. Like I had this one friend where, like, we were good friends and he did some shady shit. I called him out for it. Okay, I forgave him the first time. And then the second time he did some shady shit, I'm like, okay. I forgave him for it, and I called him out on it because he wasn't necessarily doing anything to me that second time. It was just to someone else. But then by the third time he did something, I was like, you know what? Listen, this is a pattern. This is a habit. Like, this is something that you're deliberately doing. So I'm not going to forgive you for this. And I think we need some time apart. And I think you need to work on yourself because you have a problem and you need to fix it.
Yeah. Is it? Do you mind if I get a little deep within this topic?
Of course. No, is that even a question? Go ahead, bro.
Well, it's so the issues I have with my mother, okay, it stems from childhood. I was an abused child. Growing up, I was always under her thumb, okay? And as soon as I reached adulthood, even as an adult, I was scared of her, okay? There was just that mentality within my mind. So I was always just nervous around her and everything, that, not that she was gonna, strike me or anything as an adult, but you just have that mental feeling. You have that feeling within me that I'm always like nervous around her. Okay. So I have to be honest. But I love her as a mother, but I hate her at the same time. And it's bad. It's a really strong word to say, but it's the truth. I mean, my stepfather, who was in the picture all my life, never really knew my real dad. I love him more than my real mother because he never struck me. He was a great man. But even through adulthood, she always tried to control me. My mother did. And it came to a point where I was 35 years old when I finally broke the chains. Okay. When I finally cut her off and decided, you know what, That toxicity has to leave. It's got to stop. It's bullshit. It's affecting my family, my personal family, my kids. And I had to do it, you know, but it's hard to get to that point to realize what is like the reality of the situation and what is just those deep-seated emotions and feelings that you have within you that aren't really relevant anymore. You need to just stop and focus on positive things and what you can be doing for you and your own. And until I got to that point, I was, you know, like I said, it was crazy. But that's a lot of adults out there do suffer from this, do go through this, and do go through deep depressions because of things that stemmed from childhood. And it's crazy that, like, I like talking about it because I've learned that talking about it it's therapeutic, and it also helps other people realize, hey, you know what, he's right, I'm going through this, you know. And I think that's something that we should all do. And of course, you got to be in a special forum to do so, like this, which is why I love this show, is because you guys do get deep. And yeah, I think that it's something that more people should talk about and be more open with, because there's millions of people who go through it, millions, and it can only help somebody out there.
Yeah. Thank you for opening up. I feel like it's hard to do sometimes. Yeah, we talked about abuse before on the show, and it's something that it affects you no matter how long it's been.
Yep.
I definitely feel like it adds to the decisions that you make later as an adult, as a parent.
And it's not just physical, though. It's also mental. A lot of mental. And I think that affected me more than anything else. Mm-hmm. It was mental abuse. It was that constant struggle between being under her thumb and just hearing the constant negativity coming from her against me. And it's something that I don't wish upon anybody. And it wasn't until my wife, my current wife, I've been married twice. My first wife, she had issues with my mother. Of course, she saw the issues there. I refused to see it. I refused to really honestly look at it in a certain way, in an honest way. But my current wife, she helped open that up for me. So for her, I thank her. I love her so much for helping me realize this, and that it wasn't good for our children. It wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for her. It wasn't good for anybody to be around this person. Unfortunately, the worst part about this situation, though, is the fact that it's put a big wedge in between my father and I's relationship, which I love the guy dearly. He's an amazing man. Unfortunately, because of his culture and who he is, he stands by his wife no matter what. And it just sucks, because I would love to have him in my life, in my kid's life, but it's sort of a package deal there. And it's terrible, because there's a lot of mental abuse there with him too, from her. You know, I've seen it growing up. It's still there to this day, and it's sad.
Yeah.
The thing with mental abuse is that it's very insidious, and it's like with physical abuse, it's very blatant. You know, there's the bruises, the physical, you see it. But with mental abuse, a lot of the times, if you tell someone like, yeah, I'm being abused mentally, I mean, sometimes they just won't believe you, because if they can't see it, they don't understand it. And that's the sucky thing about it, because it's real. It's very real, and it's very harmful.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, you know, and then to see my own kids go through it as well from my first marriage. They went through an abusive live-in boyfriend with my ex-wife. And it was really sad, because they were complaining that they were being hit by this man. And I personally threatened the guy, and that didn't go too well, because he called the cops, of course. And, you know, it was just like, stay away from him. And we stayed away from each other. But I knew growing up how, abuse was. And I knew my kids weren't lying to me. But there was no physical proof or anything. And that's what the cops would tell me. I complained for over 2 years that there was physical abuse going on in that home. And they went and checked it out. But they would come back and they just flat out told me there is no physical proof. So we can't do anything. And then one day, at this time I was living in the same town as my kids at the time, and they ran away from their home. Instead of going to school, they ran away to my house. And my wife called me and she's like, you need to come home. The kids are here and you just need to come home. So I go home and I see these baseball sized bruises on their back. And it still kind of chokes me up thinking about it, to be honest. I was pissed, a lot of rage, a lot of anger, sadness. Took my kids immediately to the hospital, called the police, and I ended up keeping my kids from then on, which was an amazing thing because I had fought for them for over 2 years because of this. And it took baseball-sized bruises to be able to get them. And it really just ticked me off. So, of course, I felt like, even though me and my ex-wife had issues, to me, she's still sort of like family. That's the mother of my kids, right? But she was another person I had to cut off. So, and it sucks because my kids still have a relationship with their mom. It's just that, I can't. There's just no talking to that woman after what happened to my kids.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. And it's sad. I mean, I think it sucks that the police didn't believe them or believe you. I mean, I think if a kid is saying, hey, I'm being abused, I think you should believe them. And that's awful. It's really awful. I can't even imagine how you would feel. I would be livid if that was happening to my kids. I would probably want to kill the person who was abusing them. So I can't even imagine how you felt, bro. I'm glad they got out of that situation. I'm glad they're with you now.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad that you didn't give up on them. That's the most important thing. I think that it's real easy to, well, we see that a lot, right? That people give up on other people when they need help, especially children. Children are really important. We have to take care of our children. I haven't been through abuse of that measure when I was younger, but I have gone through some abuse with my mom, and as I spoke about before on the last show, I definitely figured out all together that she was basically doing what she thought she needed to do as a parent because that's what her father did to her. And in her eyes, she wasn't as bad as her dad, who she figured out was abusive, but she figured it out later in life, It wasn't until she actually got therapy and went to parenting classes that she realized that, she was abusing us. And while she didn't leave bruises on us or that she, things like that, she still hit us and she still spoke to us in a way where it left mental scars, and now, we're fine. I don't hold that against her. And while I think someone would think of that as something that is terrible, based on this topic, I have forgiven her for that only because, she's learned and she's apologized and she doesn't do that anymore. But I do feel like hurt people, as I said before. And I think that if we're talking about forgiveness, it's important that someone on the other aspect of it, if they've done something wrong, realize the mistake that they've made and actually tries to change it. Because a lot of the time people apologize and they just think, okay, I apologize, it's over, but they don't try and work on why they did the thing that they did. And that's important. We have to fix ourselves,
think that, you know, from the people I've met that have been abused when they were younger, these are some great people. Like, honestly, there's some of the most giving people I've ever met. Just some of the nicest people. And when you share something like this with each other, you tend to get more honesty out of these people. It just seems that way for me anyway.
Yeah.
Because when you know, I went through a deep-seated depression for a while. When I was away from my kids for those 2 years, and I was trying to fight for them, I wasn't able to see them. Even though I had a court order saying I would get them every weekend, my wife refused to let me see them. She would tell the kids to basically say they didn't want to come with me. And by the courts would uphold that and say, well, the kids don't want to go with you, which was a lie. My kids loved me. I know they wanted to see me, but they were scared. And they told me later on that's what it was. And during that situation, you can imagine a father, you know, just being so brokenhearted he can't see his 3 children. So for 2 years, I went through this this deep-seated depression and ended up trying to kill myself. And so, of course, I went through therapy and group therapy and everything, and I met a lot of these people that were in tough situations, and some that were in worse off shape than I was, in worse positions I was in. At the time, Katrina had just happened, Hurricane Katrina, and there was somebody that was moved out here from that area, and you know, she lost everything, including a husband, everything. So it just put a bigger perspective on things, saying, you know what, no matter what I'm going through here, there's people that are having even bigger issues than me, and it just made it seem smaller, if that makes sense to you. It didn't seem as big of a situation, and I just kept my head up, you know, and just moved forward. And when I was able to get my kids, it was amazing. It was so amazing to, you know, to finally win. It felt like I won, you know, finally. But ever since then, I tried to be a more positive person. I've always been helpful and giving, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. I love talking about this stuff because like I said earlier, I think that it could possibly, you know, help others understand things, and, you know.
Yeah. Oh God, I am like really feeling emotional. Like I'm crying a little bit. Like just hearing you, Fonz, and then like seeing everyone in the chat and how they're sharing with us these things that's happened to them. Like I love you guys. I love you guys so much. And you know, it sucks. Life has been really shitty for a lot of us. But what's important is that you're here, you're alive, and you know, like hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are always open, and you know. Oh, I love you guys. I love you. I love you, Fonz, man. You're my brother for life. I'm really feeling emotional right now.
Yeah. Well, usually our first topic is supposed to be lighter. I do say all the time that sometimes it gets deeper than we intended.
Yeah. That, for me, when I read those topics, I said, you know, this is a deep show. This is, you know, something that really speaks to me. You know, I'm sorry if I shared too much for you guys, but
no, don't ever apologize for speaking.
Yeah, I just
okay.
This is what our show's about.
Yeah, I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because when we're all mostly in the gaming community, and so, you know, when we talk about things that are beyond the surface, we figure out more about someone. And then what I love about us and what I love about the chat is that we find people that are like us, that feel the way we do, that think the way we do. And it's important to, you know, be reminded that there are people that are going through the same things that you are out there. You're not alone. You know, if you feel that this is a safe space for everyone. So the chat especially, I appreciate for sharing their stories. I do feel that it's important for us to find each other, and the best way to do it is to talk about these things. As hard as it is to talk about, it's important.
And like Lucas said, I'm open to talking to anybody if they have any issues or anything, and they don't feel comfortable, and they feel comfortable with me hearing what I've been through or something. Go ahead and talk to me. Open up. It's always great to talk about these things. don't ever pin these emotions down, because let me tell you, it'll get to a point where anything can happen, and it's not good. For me, it's always been therapeutic to talk.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important. I do think that if you guys do need a minute, it's okay. You can walk away and come back. The chat is so full of love right now that it really makes me feel so good. We do love you guys. We do. And we're so glad that you found us, and we're so glad that we're here to provide this for you, because honestly, if you don't talk about these things, then like Fonz was saying, it's super important to talk about it. It's not good to leave it, bubbling down inside you. And it's just like, so it's awesome to see all the hearts and all the love. All right. So I think we can move on if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on to the next topic. I know this one was pretty tough. Thank you, Repro, for sending. Hopefully you'll listen to this and you will feel better about your situation. Comment below, everyone, if you feel that you can relate, or if you feel that you have another topic that you would like to suggest to us. We are definitely open, and we comment back to everyone that lets us know a little bit about themselves. We really do appreciate that. So moving on to our next segment. This is Girl, Let Me Tell You, where, of course, we tell you, our stories from the week. Luca, do you want to go first? Do you need a minute?
I need a minute, please.
Yeah,
yes.
Luca needs a minute. I know. Fonz, what about you? How are you good? You good?
All right. Yeah, this is a much lighter topic.
Yeah.
This happened to me about a week and a half ago, and Luca already heard this story, so she's got to pretend like she didn't hear this. But about a week and a half ago, I'm on this podcast, and we're all discussing things. We're talking. It's a gaming podcast, of course, and you know how this community is divided between these Xbots and Sony ponies, so to speak. I'm in the middle. I don't really care about To me, I care about both sides. I don't care about all the plastic wars and stuff that goes on. So as I'm talking, there's this guy in chat, and usually trolls don't get to me. But this guy, what he said got to me, because he was like, oh, Fonz is only hanging out with these Xbots because he wants some sort of internet fame. And I read it, and I just kind of laughed at it. I kept going. And the more I started thinking about it, the more it started to stew in my mind. And I was like, you know what? I said, that's bullshit. So I called him out on it, and I was like, you know what? I've never ever asked to be on anybody's podcast. I've never asked to do this or that. I said, these people, and I'm not anybody, don't get me wrong, but these people came and saw my video, brought me to this podcast, brought me to that podcast. I didn't ask for any of this, but what I did do was meet some great people on both sides, and I am friends with so many different people of so many walks of life, and it's awesome. And so I was just so upset with this guy, like, who are you to tell me this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
It ticked me off, but I got over it when All Day was telling him, hey, fuck that guy. You don't have to listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. No need to explain anything to that guy. And then I was okay. But man, like I hold friendships dear to me. I'm close with people, and when I get close, I'm real about these relationships. I'm not a fake when it comes to that. And if I was looking for some sort of internet fame, I surely wouldn't be hanging out with some guys that barely have a couple hundred subscribers or whatnot. I mean, come on, like, get over yourselves.
Why are people like that?
I don't know.
Like, what's wrong with you? Are you bored?
Yeah. It's just something that ticked me off, and I wanted to rant about that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Luca, you have one?
Yeah, I do. Girl, let me tell you.
Tell me.
People don't like me. Like, people really don't like me. the last RDX podcast that we had, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with JFonzerrelli and folks. Anyway, but the last
Lord.
podcast, I was on. You know, I am loud and I'm outspoken, and you know, I don't let things slide, and I speak up for myself. You know, and people don't seem to like that. They don't seem to like that at all. People don't like me, and I think it's so funny because it's like people say stuff like, oh, she talks too much or she's annoying and all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, well, you are one of the few people who feel that way, because it's like I've gotten so many messages and I've gotten so much support from the community and from my friends about how they love hearing me speak and they love being able to hear my opinions about things. And I just think it's funny. I think it's funny that like people legit go out of their way to just try and bring you down and to hate on you for over video games, you know, over video games. And that's something I genuinely don't understand. And so I spent some time like responding to some of the messages, and a lot of the time, like I'd respond to them and I'd be like, well, okay, I don't actually hate you, Luca. It's just sometimes things you say irritates me. I'm like, that's fine. You know, it's okay. We don't have to get along all the time. And it just baffles me. Like, if I don't like something that someone's saying, or if I don't like a person, I just don't watch their content, because I don't care enough to do that. Like, I'm not going to waste my time commenting on people's stuff or watching their stuff if I don't like it. You know, that's just like, I don't, people love to hate, and that's just something I don't understand.
Luca, what it comes down to is they're just jealous of you. That's it. And I've told you this 100 times. You know, these people that talk about you like that, it's because they want something that you have. And it could be the fact that you're on a great podcast, or on 2 great podcasts, which is even better.
Yeah.
So it's
You're
just
so sweet.
It's jealousy.
Hate is gonna hate.
Yeah, I just want to say, Blue said in the chat she doesn't like it. But that's okay, Blue, because I love you. Okay? I love you.
Why you gotta be the good guy in this?
And plus, Luca, I gotta say, it's probably just sock accounts by some guy who really doesn't like you. One guy.
Yeah, I know. We've talked about it.
Oh man, you know what? Hate is gonna hate, man. So if they're wasting their time to, you know, tell you something and make accounts to tell you something, come on. Like, that means they obsessed with you. Let's just put it at that.
Yeah.
I think that takes more energy than to love someone, to be honest.
Like when we were children, you know what would happen when we were kids? Like if you liked somebody, you would like go up to them and hit them or something. That was like the affection between boys and girls. Like the girls would go up and hit the boy and run away, and they'd have to chase after him and stuff. Maybe that's some of that. Maybe some of that is that they really like you, Luca.
Well, yeah. Okay. I mean, the first show we did, there were a lot of comments, and when I responded to them, they were so happy. They're like, "Oh my gosh, she responded to me!" Like, you know, they were hateful comments too, and I would respond like positively, and oh, okay, well, I mean, I didn't mean it. I just want you to see. I was like, okay.
Wow.
Like, okay.
Little do they know you respond to like everything almost.
True story, though. This is a true story. That's how Mel got Xbot. She just punched him one day, and that was it.
Oh my god. Well, girl, let me tell you. As you guys know, I do stream on Twitch often. And I you know, sometimes you need help in the chat, and so I had someone that was supportive, would come through all the time, you know, it was great. And so I decided to mod that person. Girl, why the fuck did I do that shit? This guy, at first he's like, a few weeks maybe go by, and he's like a great mod. He helps out. He always shows up. No problem. And then suddenly he starts telling me that he can't watch my stream. Like, I don't know if he has shitty internet or if like his devices don't work. I don't know. And so he just like over and over would say, oh, I can't watch it. It doesn't work for me. And then he started saying things like, oh, my internet is acting up. The cable provider said that they were going to come out and check it. And then he was like, oh, I can't watch because my mobile data is going to run out and things like that. And so he decided that he would take it upon himself to message me basically every single day for, I think, a week and a half or 2 weeks, and tell me on Twitter DM, on the Discord, like tweeted at me, you know, that he can't watch my stream because his internet's not working. Okay. So on Twitter, I saw that he was promoting me, which is great. Thank you. But he was also promoting someone else. And so I was like, all right, let me check out this person. I think I was following them anyway, so I'll just lurk in their channel for a bit. So I'm lurking in their channel, and it turns out he's in there. And he's a mod. And so he's writing in the chat all la-di-da, and I'm like, well, that's interesting. So I was like, well, whatever. I keep moving because I don't care. I don't feel like starting any, like, drama. But he messages me again the same day. Oh, I can't watch your stream. Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. Right? So I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. I'm going to ignore this guy. It's fine. No, he keeps messaging me. And I'm like, yo, this guy's getting on my nerves. So you know what I did? I went to the guy's stream. Another day, different day. And I wait until he writes, right? The guy finishes a game, then he writes GG, right, to the streamer. And I'm like, oh, hello. And then he goes and sends, oh, hi, Blue. And then I'm like, fancy seeing you here. And then he sends a little thumbs up emote, right? And then I leave, and I'm like, maybe that'll stop him from telling me the bullshit lie of, my internet's not working. I have no mobile data. Yeah, Nope, that didn't work. He messages me and says, oh, I just was using my mobile data, but it's okay. I had it on chat only or audio only, so it wasn't that bad. And I was like, okay. I just put okay. And he was like, didn't respond. And honestly, I unmodded him already, and he basically tried to play it off as if, you know, he couldn't watch my shit. Whatever. He lied, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And he decided to leave my Discord, and he stopped following me on Twitter, and I was like, good riddance, bitch. Good riddance. Honestly, like, why are you trying to bullshit me? Like, just tell me the truth. If you don't want to be my mod anymore, it's fine. Like, just say, hey, I don't want to be your mod anymore. I'm not going to get mad at you. It's okay. I'm going to say, okay, goodbye. Like, that's it. You don't have to lie and tell me that your fucking internet is not working and then try and, like, act like, first of all, everyone can see your tweets, dumbass. Like, how are you going to promote someone and be in their chat and then lie to me and tell me you can't be in mine? Like, come on. That makes no sense.
Yeah, that's so weird. I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't just be honest and be like, hey, I don't want to watch your crap anymore. Oh, you know, you sing too much on stream. I'm not about that life.
Listen. All I know is that was a bullshit ass move. And then he was like, oh, I'll still continue to tweet your stream out though. And I'm like, oh, like, honestly, nobody wants you to keep tweeting on my stream, bitch. You only have 200 followers. Like, it's fine. Keep it moving. Bye.
Yeah.
I'm so annoyed with people. Like, I just don't like when people lie to me, especially when I catch you in a lie. Like, just be real. Okay, that is all.
Worst. Liars are the worst, I swear. Between, like, thieves and liars, I don't know which one I would pick as being, you know, the worst. Those two, to me, those two things. But they usually go hand in hand, right? If they're liars, they're probably thieves. They're thieves, they're liars. I just can't stand liars.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Like, I don't like liars either, because I find out stuff, okay?
Exactly.
Like, I find things out, and it's like, okay, listen, I know a couple people, and I'm friends with a couple people. People like to tell me stuff. People like talking to me because you know, they say that I'm a good listener. And it just baffles me that, like, you think you can keep something from me, or you lie to me, and it's like, I'm gonna find out. I always find out. Unfortunately, I always find out. So just don't lie to me. Just tell me the truth.
Oh my god. So yeah, that's my girl, let me tell you, because honestly, like, you deserve that shit, bitch, if you're listening. But you're probably not, because you're mobile data. Asshole. Anyhow, moving on. Let's get to our next segment, which is topic number 2. As you guys know, topic number 2 is a little bit more serious, although the last topic was definitely serious. But here we're going to talk about dads. It's interesting because I've been noticing that a lot of people have been paying attention to, let's say, deadbeat dads, right? We hear a lot of people talk about, or at least I hear a lot of people talk about dads that aren't around. Me in particular, I do have a dad that wasn't around when I was a kid, and I haven't, it's just interesting because I want to know, are we surprised when we hear that dads are sticking around? Like, if you, Fonz, you in particular, because I know you're a dad, correct?
Mm-hmm.
If you tell someone, okay, I have kids and, we're still together and things like that, like, do you find people are surprised by that or not really?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
I usually run into people that don't. I mean, it could be my environment where I live. It seems to be a thing. Statistically, it is high. The probability of you not having a father is pretty high here, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, I even have experience with that. Of course, I had a dad growing up. Okay, so I tell people that I had a father, of course, but he doesn't have anything to do with me. But a dad takes care of his kids. A dad raises his kids, and I had a good dad. But yeah, my father, I don't know him. Actually, I did finally meet him over the phone, and this was just a few years ago. So as an adult, he finally decided to reach out, and we talked, and he put a lot of blame on my mother, which I'm sure there's a lot to go there. But I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. As a father, you should be there for your kids, even if you're not there 24/7. If you're a part-time dad, be a part-time dad. Don't just disown your kids because, mom went off with some other guy or mom's with somebody else now, and I don't want to deal with all that. No, bullshit. I've done it. I've tried to do it. You got to be there for your kids, no matter what. No matter what. I can't stand a deadbeat dad.
Yeah, and I don't get the trend of like dads reaching out after you're an adult, because that's what my father did. He reached out to me. I'm like, sir, I am grown. I don't need anything from you. Like, I don't want anything for you. Just leave me alone. And it's like, if your father was blaming your mother, that means he was aware of what kind of person she was and like, her more abusive tendencies, which means he should have tried extra hard to keep you away from that. So sorry, but he's a scumbag.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, now to this day, I have like a little bit of a relationship with my dad, but I do hold it against him that he wasn't there. And apparently no one else does because, God forbid, you tell someone like what you really feel, because he tries to reach out to me every now and again. And sometimes I'll be like, yeah, hi, blah, 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 I'll call him and stuff. But like, I don't know, he tries to play this blame game where he's like, oh, you don't call me, you don't love me, blah blah blah. And honestly, I feel like I could just be like, well, you weren't there when I was younger, so why should I be there for you now, right? But I don't feel like doing that. I just be like, okay, well, I'll call you again more, and then I just don't do it, because honestly, like, you didn't do it, so like, I'm not gonna give you the explanation. You didn't explain to me why you weren't around. He still hasn't apologized for it.
Mel, here's the thing. My father tried to explain to me, okay, but it doesn't matter. The excuses doesn't matter at all. The fact is, I opened up to the guy and I said, okay, because I'm a type of person who sort of wears his heart on his sleeve. I'm very forgiving, and I try to care about people. So I took it to heart when he contacted me. I was like, okay. I talked to my wife about it. She says, we can try and open up and see what'll happen here. Maybe it'll turn out to be a good thing. So I kept the dialogue open. I called him back a week later. We talked, and I noticed a pattern though. I was calling him like the first time it was a week later. Then I called him 2 weeks later. Then I waited about a month. Then I called him again. Then I didn't hear from him ever again. Like, to me, it was like the very first phone call, he told me he loved me and stuff, which was odd. Like, man, you haven't seen me in, 38 years. Like, how are you going to tell me you love me when you don't even know me? And, and then here's the thing where I should have really got a red flag was during the conversation, he asked me why my last name was changed. And I said, that's because when I turned 18, I decided to take my real father's name. And I was talking about my stepdad, of course,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to pass on his name to my children. So that's what I did, and that pissed him off. I could tell, like, he didn't get mad, but I could tell in his voice that he was like, well, why did you change your name? And when I told him, he was just quiet, and then that should have threw a red flag up, like, this guy is not the guy I would want him to be. And he just sort of just led me on to believe that he wanted to be in me and my kids' lives, and then just totally stopped talking. And and honestly, it bothered me a bit for a while because again, I'm a forgiving person. I want to hold on to hope with people. I try to see in good in everybody, but with this particular situation, I should have known. But it's family. You think that even though he hasn't been around, that maybe, just maybe, he's really being truthful and honest, and he wants to reach out and be there. But
Mm-hmm.
I just, it's one of those things where I should have known. So yeah, I haven't talked to him since. It's been a couple of years now. It's been a few years, almost 4 now. But it is what it is. Like, Deadbeat Dads really just pissed me off. I've had a dad, and as I said earlier, he was great growing up. And unfortunately, the situation with my mother has caused me to have that wedge there between us. But man, I miss him. I miss him a lot.
Yeah, I feel. Do you feel like your children? Because I know that they're older now, right? From your first marriage. Do you feel like they knew that you still loved them, even though your first wife was keeping them from you and telling them lies, probably, and things like that? Do you?
That's hard to say, like, because when we did reconnect,
Mm-hmm.
of course, of course, the hugs, the love, everything that poured out of me with these kids, they could tell that, yes, I was still there for them. But during the time, that 2 years of not being able to see my kids, like, that's a long time. So for kids, and especially when they're being abused, I can only imagine that they didn't think that I cared,
Yeah.
I can only imagine. And yes, I was taking their mom to court this whole time. I was in court literally like every 4 months trying to get my kids. The court battles were just insane. And the kids would go to court, but I don't think they really understood why we were there, like that I was trying to get custody of them and everything, because I had no way of talking to them. So
Yeah.
it was a tough situation.
Yeah. And I just want to point out real quick that when we're saying fathers who aren't there for their kids, I mean fathers who could be there for their kids but
And
choose not to be.
There's a difference.
There's a difference. If you're not allowed to see your kids and you can't see them, it's not your fault, and we're not judging you for that. Like, if you want to be there for them but you can't because of the law or some other reason, we're not judging you. We're talking about people who deliberately just decide not to be there for their kids and for no reason at all.
For example, in my situation, and of course I'm bringing all of this from my experiences, my mom would call and would say, hey, are you going to pick up your children this day? He'll be like, yeah, I am. The day will come, and we would call him like 1,000 times, and he would not answer the phone. That is a person who chose not to show up. That is completely different than someone who is being, their kids are being held from them, or there's a court decision that makes it so that you cannot see your kids, or if you live far away from your kids, things like that are different. If you are making an effort, no matter what effort it is, then you care, and that makes a world of difference. For me in particular, I feel like my dad flaked on us way too many times. He didn't live with us, which is fine because they weren't together. But at the same time, if we and as children are forgiving. Children don't care. But if it becomes a thing, right? If it's constantly, and it becomes a thing where we expect it from you. For example, when I got to a particular age, my mom would say, your dad is coming today to pick you up. You can't go outside, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. And I would say, he's not coming. Why do you keep saying that? And as much as it was, I was real since I was born. You hear this?
Oh my God.
I was like 9 years old telling my mom, look, Mom, let's be real here. He ain't showing up. And then she would look at me and be like, little girl, if you don't stop. I used to get on my mom's nerves a lot, but yeah, like I come on, like if it becomes something that we expect of you, then same as an adult, you cannot be trusted. Who's gonna rely on you if you flake all the time, you know?
Yeah. I was real ever since I was born.
Real talk, baby.
Oh shit, that's funny. Yeah, honestly, for me, I've never been interested in my father. I've always been really apathetic towards him because he was never in my life. Like he went off and had a bunch of other kids with other women. Like I have a bunch of half siblings. I don't know how many I have exactly, but I have a bunch of half siblings who I don't talk to either. So, like, I've just never been interested in him. I've always been really apathetic about him. So, like him not being there for me didn't. I mean, I didn't care. And him coming back into my life, I didn't care. I was like really indifferent, and I just didn't want to be bothered with it. I was like, oh, this is like this seems like annoying. I don't want to deal with this. But like, I felt obligated to, so I made a bit of an effort. But then he tried to like emotionally manipulate me. He's like, well, you don't love me or care about me, and somehow make that into my fault. And I called him out for that shit. I'm like, you're not going to emotionally manipulate me, sir. You could have been there for me, but you weren't. So you can take that somewhere else, buddy. And I haven't talked to him in a long time.
So let's talk about dads that do stay. I do want to say that I do. So all the dads that stay in their children's lives, you're amazing. It's not easy. It's very hard to be a parent, and your child will be a lot more well-rounded if their parents are in their lives. And while some of these things we cannot control, whether you are, a single parent, you can't control another person's actions. But Fonz, tell us a little bit about you and your family.
Well, like, what do you want to know?
Like, for example, how many kids you have?
I have 8 kids total. And there's 3 with a previous marriage. And when I met my current wife, she had 2, and then we had 3 more. So we have 5 boys and 3 girls.
I thought that was amazing when you first told me. It was like, what?
And 4 of them now are adults. They're gone. They've left the nest, so to speak. And part of me is saying, thank God. The other part of me is like, I miss them. You know what I'm saying? Because they're always going to be my babies. That's how parents are. They're always going to be your babies. But I still have 4 at the house, and they range in ages from 3 to 17. So I have another one that's about to leave the nest in a couple of years. And it's crazy. The older I get and the older they get, it's insane to me. It's so surreal that because inside I feel like I'm 18 still. And then I look at my kids and I'm like, they're older than that. You're not 18, old man. It's crazy.
So someone says you need your own TV show. So my question would be to you, how was it taking on that role of stepdad for your wife's children?
It was difficult at first. For the oldest, he was 12 at the time, and of course he was involved with his dad. I would say he wasn't a great father, but he was there in and out. My daughter, her daughter at the time, she was only 4, so we bonded a lot better, and especially because her dad was a deadbeat. He was never around. He came around for the first 2 years I was in their lives. He was there every 6 months, literally 6 months, and she would wait for him. She would say, Dad's coming today or whatever. And it was just really sad. And one day, as strong as my wife is, and I'm glad she did this, one day she just basically told him when he showed up and said, look, either you're in or you're out. You can't just pop in every 6 months and say, oh, here I am. You've got to show up more often or just stay away. And he chose to stay away, which is fine because she considers me her dad, and that's that, you know. I'm her father. And even for my my stepson, my son, I call him, because he's mine too. Even though he was 12 at the time when I came in, it was a bit rough there, because you know, you get into that sort of teenage angst already. 12, 13 years old, you're sort of rebelling and things, and he rebelled a lot, but he ended up opening up to me later on. And now as an adult, he tells me, you know, he wishes he would have listened to me more as a kid. So we've got a great respect for each other and a lot of love there. So it's awesome.
Fonz, I wish you were my dad.
I appreciate that.
You're old enough to be my father. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
I know.
Y'all are silly. I feel like it's one of those things, right? Because there's so many, the role of stepdad is pretty difficult, especially when there's, you know, the biological father is in the picture. But at the same time, taking on, like, you have to love the person that you met with children and love the children in order to be willing, you know, to take that role. And it's a huge step. Because not only are you saying to yourself, well, for you, for example, you had your own children already to take care of, and you were just like, hey, I am willing to be a father to these children too, you know? And I just want to commend you for that, because and I want to commend all fathers that stick around, because it's you know, it's a big deal in a child's life.
It really is. It really is. Like my father, my dad, he's done so much. He's instilled a lot of great values in me growing up. And it's funny because you don't really realize that your parents had did that to you until you're an adult. Mm. Like I go through my whole life and you know, I always thought my parents are, well, my dad in this situation, the things he said to me just went in one ear and out the other. But then when I'm adult, I find myself repeating some of the same things he told me as a kid. I'm repeating these things to my kids. So it really does take effect. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so important what parents say to their children, because it could have a long lasting effect, a lifetime lasting effect. Yeah. And that's what I try to think about when I talk to my kids, when I have serious talks with them, is that I want to make sure I give the right message here, because I don't want to be one of those parents that are like my mother was, always under her thumb. I don't want to be so restrictive to my kids, but at the same time, I want to put good values into them. I want them to understand how the real world works and how people are out there and how it's not the best place to be in at times. And there's a lot of shitty people out there. But I also make them understand that you can have a lot of fun in this world. You know, I just don't want them to feel like so much pressure and everything. I don't know. I just try to be a good dad.
And that's the most important thing that you can do in that position. What do we think about, do we feel that dads that stick around get more praise than moms that stick around?
Yes.
I say no.
Why do you think yes, Luca?
I say yes because I mean, that's just what I think, to be perfectly honest. Mm-hmm. Probably because there's a stigma with dads not sticking around, especially in certain cultures and all that stuff. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, I heard this wrong. So yeah, in that respect, I would agree with you, Luca. I would say that dads that stick around probably would get more accolades because they aren't typically, that's not the norm typically, right? From what you hear from people, usually they're talking about how their dads didn't stick around. So yeah, I feel
what did you hear?
But when it comes to actually, like, I thought basically you were saying like when I read the question, I thought you were talking about like single dads with their kids opposed to single moms that keep their kids.
Do you not feel like that single dads get more praise than single moms?
No, not at all. I you know, because I actually have a friend that's a single dad, and he's not. They're not looked. That's not the typical thing. That's not the norm. That's usually the mom that has their kids full time. So it's thought of as being kind of weird. Like it's so uncommon that like I know at my job, because he works at my job, uh, I know when he asks for time off and stuff because he's got to do things for his kids, they give it to him, but it's begrudgingly. It's different from how the women that have to do stuff with their kids and stuff. It
Really?
feels, yeah. It I don't know.
Does it
It's
feel
almost like
almost as if
they look at him with a side eye as if he's lying or something.
Do
But
you
as
feel
a
like
father, I know he's not lying. You know what I'm saying? I know that these things happen with kids, and you need to be there at certain things. And it's just, to me, it's crazy. Like, and that's just what I've seen from personal experience. So, I mean, on a broader scale, it probably could be completely bullshit what I'm saying here. But from what
Yeah, I
I've
just want to say, Fonz, how dare you for disagreeing with me in the first place? I am always right. Excuse you very much. Again, that's all.
Lord. Do you feel that it's because from the women it's expected as opposed to from a male it's just something that's never, necessary to give time for
It's
children?
well, it's not the norm because of one. I'll tell you one thing. Because having gone through the court system and everything, and having fought for my children, I will say straight up, the court systems are
Favor
rigged.
the mom. Yeah, they favor the mothers. I know
They favor
this.
the mothers,
Yeah.
100%. And that's just the way it is. Like, no matter what kind of great guy you are, no matter how much money you make, no matter how much the money the mother makes, or what a shitty person she could be, it doesn't matter. They usually tend to give the kids to the mother. And that's how it is. Like 90% of the time, I think I don't know the statistics, so don't take my word for that. But from what I've seen, like, and what I've been through personally, and the things I've heard told to me by judges, and it's like, why? Like, there's possibility of abuse in this household, and I can't have my kids because she's their mom. Like, are you kidding me?
Honestly, it makes no sense, but a lot of it has to do with the stereotype that the mother is what the children need, like the maternal aspect of it or something like that. Like the stereotypes that women are going to be good parents because they instinctually are maternal. Like, that's bullshit.
I
just because you are deemed female does not necessarily make you maternal.
Yep.
There's also a stigma against males that, let's say, if they have you look at the mother and the father. Let's take a situation where I was in. My wife was working at the time, but it was a part-time job. I had a full-time job making a lot of money. Now, from the court's perspective, they looked at it as, you're the breadwinner. You go out there and make that damn money. She could stay home and collect that money and take care of those kids. And I think there's a stigma out there where if the guy is a stay-at-home dad, it's kind of, taboo. It's kind of odd. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, one of my dudes on Twitter was talking about how he's like a stay-at-home dad and his wife goes out and works, and he was like embarrassed telling. He told me in blue he was embarrassed. I'm like, you don't need to be embarrassed, dude. It's all good. You know
how hard it is to take care of kids. I know when I'm off on vacation and stuff, sometimes I'll let my wife go do what she wants, and I'm stuck with the kids, and I'm like, holy shit, like, it is not easy, people. So for any single dads or moms out there, kudos to you for taking care of those kids by yourselves. Amazing people.
Yep.
It's definitely something that is ridiculous in terms of like the way society views us and the roles that we are automatically put into because of the label that we have. It's a bit ridiculous. I feel like if it works where the let's just use these terms for lack of better ones, but the male in the relationship has a lower paying job and the female doesn't, or whatever, and it wants to be a stay-at-home dad, like, it's fine. Like, why do we automatically assume, and this all boils down to the whole, like, if you're even a little bit feminine, then you are deemed less than a man, which is such bullshit. It really is. Like, if logically this makes sense, there's no reason why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I agree.
I
But
agree.
100%. We'll be here.
It's like the gender roles from the past are still are still pretty prevalent even
Oh,
in
for
this day and
sure.
age. So that's what it is. You know, I know a lot of guys are looked down on for having certain feelings and emotions, and it's mostly people in the older generation, like the older crowd, like the older guys I talk to. They'll tell me something or they'll open up about something, and then they'll be embarrassed about it. I'm like, yeah, I know it's kind of lame because I'm a guy and I'm talking about this. I'm like, no, no, it's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that, you know? Like you don't need to be embarrassed about this stuff. It's perfectly like your feelings, no matter if you're a boy or a girl or if you're non-binary, your feelings are always valid. It doesn't matter what gender you are.
Exactly. There's no reason why you there nothing should be said to you to tell you that you shouldn't feel a particular way and that you shouldn't express those feelings. Um and I feel that, in my opinion, single moms are often, it's almost as if it's expected, you know, where they're just like, oh, I'm a single mom. And they're just like, oh, okay. In my community, in my culture, in my experience, this is what I've seen, where if you're a single dad, you become this like unicorn. And you're just like, everyone's like, a single dad? Whoa, that's amazing. But like, no one tells the single moms that they're amazing.
Yeah,
You know?
it's just something to be expected, you know,
Right.
which is it's unfortunate that it's like that, but it's not something I'm like surprised about. That's all I meant, is that sometimes like people are just kind of like single mom, like especially in like Black families, they don't really expect the dads to stick around, and so that's why people are always shocked when that's the case where the dad did stick around, you know.
Mhm.
So at least that's just my experience growing up.
And that's what I meant earlier
Yeah.
by that question, where if it's a full family, right, in Black or Latino cultures, based on our experiences, Luca, it's almost as if people are just like, whoa, you know, when they hear that you're still with the mom and that baby is from the same father. What? You know? It's like, yeah, that is totally a possibility. And it sucks that it's not the norm.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that there's a stigma around it, and that a prejudgment has been brought up about this kind of stuff, where people just don't expect the fathers to stick around, and then they're shocked when they do.
Mm-hmm. And it almost makes me feel like, at what point is it something that we are kind of like setting up, right? Because if people grow up seeing like, oh, no one has a dad, you know, and then they're put in the situation where they do have a baby, and I mean, there's so many other factors, of course, but they don't feel obligated to stick around if they don't see that dads are sticking around. So it's almost as if this like circle of, you know, cause and effect that kind of just like becomes the reality of almost every family. And it's so, I'm sorry, I know I'm going, it's just so sad, because I feel like, as a teacher, you know, a future teacher, and one that has worked in daycare centers in the low income communities, I did witness so many children that did not have fathers, and it affects them. It affects children when their parents are not around, and if you have the ability to be there, please do. You know, it makes a world of difference, whether you're there a little or a lot, or as much as you can. Just try, is what I feel is important.
Yep, I agree 100%. You know, that goes a long way in a child's life, seeing that both of their parents are there for them and both their parents care. So.
Yeah. So I think we said all we needed to say on this topic. If you guys have more to say, thank you everyone for sharing in the chat. But if you do have more to say that we did not cover, definitely throw your comments in the comment section below. I want to hear from you all. And I know that there's some aspects of this that we did not cover. So definitely let us know what you feel when you heard this. So let's move on to our next segment. Our next segment is Fuck That Shit. where we tell you the things that we are annoyed by this week or last week or whenever. Because honestly, like, the shit that goes down in my life is ridiculous. So I always have something to say. But Fonz, do you want to go first?
Sure. And it's going to go along with our last topic.
Nice.
Fuck deadbeat dads. Seriously. Get out there and see your damn kids. We're tired of that shit, you know? Having been, you know, a product of that, I had a deadbeat father, and, you know, having my stepdaughter going through the same thing. Fuck deadbeat dads. Seriously.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely do. I feel like, you know, we talked about it last segment, but it's just so, especially because I had the same situation where, you know, he would come and go as he pleased, and honestly, that's not how that works. You can't be a dad when you feel like being a dad and then like leave and be like, I'm not a dad anymore. That's not how that works, man. Get your shit together. Thanks. My fuck that shit this week, of course, I know, but look, I stream on Twitch, as everyone knows, but I decided to try and stream on Mixer, you know, mix it up a little. And
Mixing
honestly,
it up.
Yeah, I got that from Lucas. But honestly, like, what the fuck? People decided to tell me their opinions about me going on Mixer for a few times. And first of all, I didn't ask you. So, yeah. And second of all, what the fuck? Like, why are you, if I'm tweeting that I'm on Mixer, why are you tweeting at me that I shouldn't do this? Like, who are you? Like, if you have an opinion, like, write me privately and we can talk about it. Why are you tweeting an entire explanation of why I should stick to Twitch? Like, don't tell me what to do. Don't. That's the wrong thing to do. So, yeah, I'm going to just say fuck that. Don't you ain't my daddy, okay? Don't tell me what I can and cannot do or what I should and shouldn't do. And if you feel like you want to help me, then the best way to go about it is to DM me. I'm letting you all know right now. DM me and it'll be less of an issue. Because I will shit on you for doing things like that. Okay? Okay. That is all. What's yours, Luca?
Well, my fuck that shit for this week is a general concept more than the actual thing that has happened recently. And that concept is miscommunication. I have seen so many situations and I've seen my friends go through so many things, drama that could have been avoided if people have just sat down and talked to each other, you know, just talk to each other. And I don't understand what's so hard about that. Like, I always tell people how I feel, much to their dislike, I must admit. Like, some people don't like that shit, but I tell people how I feel, and I tell them if I'm upset with them, and I want to talk it out. I want to talk things out because I feel like that's the best way to get past things. Trying to like bury it or toss it under the rug is not the best way to go about it. You should talk these things out because, you know, you're never actually in another person's mind. You know what I mean? Like, you don't actually know a person's intentions or what they're feeling or why they're saying the things that they're saying unless they tell you, you know? So I think it's easy that if someone does something to like hurt your feelings or piss you off, for you to just be like, oh man, fuck this person. They did this deliberately. Maybe they just, you know, they're just like, well, I didn't realize that you would get pissed off about this, you know? And I think that if you just talk to the other person, that a lot of heartache and drama and pain can be avoided by that. But the thing, the thing of it is that no one ever wants to talk these things out. No one wants to talk to the other person because they're either scared or embarrassed, or they just feel like, well, I shouldn't have to talk to them about this because I didn't do anything. Well, no, I just really feel like communication is the best way to get past certain issues. And as someone who used to bury their feelings and like say I forgive someone but actually didn't forgive them, and then like a few months later blow up at them over something stupid, I think it's just best to air it all out and let all that stuff out so feelings of bitterness are not building up, and you know, you can work past the issues that you have with someone else together. So fuck miscommunication, and you know, to be perfectly honest, fuck you if you don't want to talk about your feelings. I'm tired of that shit. I'm tired of you getting mad at me for nothing. So
Look,
Yeah.
we say it every show.
Get your
We're
shit
going to say
together.
it again. Get your shit together. There you go. I said it in a sing-song way for you. Just so that you don't get hurt, you know, your feelings. Because that's so important these days. Everyone's so sensitive.
Yep, that's true.
Anyway, let's move on to our next segment. It is But Why Though, where we tell you the silly ass shit that we've seen and the things that we don't like. Fonz, you want to go first or Luca?
This silly shit we see.
Yeah, man. Look, I'll tell you mine because honestly, like, this shit was ridiculous. So I'm on the train, right? Minding my own business. Always public transportation because that's where all the crazy people are. God damn. I mean, look, I'm on the train. I'm like, all right, I'm getting to work. No problem. I'm listening to my music. I'm chilling. And someone gets on the train and they stand up by the door. And now I'm sitting down across from the door. And so my eyes gravitate towards this mister because he's all decked out. He like has this like nice fly shirt on. He has this nice hat on, some like nice sunglasses, some nice pants. I look down and he's wearing flip-flops. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I guess flip-flops and jeans make total sense. No problem. Okay. But then this boy, I'm like, this guy, his toes were disgusting. And when I mean disgusting, I mean that mofo had fungus on his toes.
How
Fungus.
long were you staring?
His
How
toes.
long were you staring?
Girl, when I see something this disgusting, I can't take my eyes away. It's like so bad. Like it's just like, what the fuck is happening here? Is this real life? If you have really bad toes, I'm talking like his toenails were discolored. Like if you have really bad fungus, I understand athlete's foot is a thing. Like, okay, it's fine. You can get medicine for that. That's one. But like, why are you wearing flip-flops, dude? Like, put some socks on and put some sneakers on and cover them shits. Like, nobody wants to. What if someone trips over your foot and they have flip-flops on too, and then like they get fungus from touching your fungus? Have you thought about that? Think about that, sir, for a second, and think about the people that you may be affecting with your flip-flops, sir, and fungus, sir. What the fuck?
Gross. I don't want to ride the train ever again.
So I'm just like, but why though? Why are you wearing? Why? Also, if you're all decked out, why are you wearing flip-flops? That's so wrong. Like, if you're you have a nice shirt, you have nice pants. Like, what is happening here? Where are you going? To the beach?
Oh, my God.
Dude, I don't want to. I was just, my eyes, oh, my God. I just had to look away, and I was just like, why is this happening? Oh, okay. That was my but why, though. What about you guys?
Well, my but why though is listen. I'm still feeling salty about this. It's been 3 days. Listen, but I was at the suspect laundromat. And I always go to the suspect one because it's cheaper and there's usually not a lot of people there. But it was really crowded today, right? And I was like, okay, this will be fine, right? First of all, this hoe had 3 fucking carts, okay, that she just had in front of the dryer. And I'm like, what are you doing? You don't need all 3 of those carts. Just use one and just what? Honestly, like, oh no, I'm still fucking pissed about this. Like, listen. So she had 3 carts in front of the dryer, using all of them, not being considerate of anyone else because that's what these fucking people are like. They're just never considerate of anyone. So I take 1 cart and like I put my clothes in and I hang my bra up on the cart so it can dry because that's what I always do, right? I come back. And my cart's missing. And my first concern is, oh, someone took my cart. Okay, whatever. I'll just get another one. But then I'm like thinking, and I'm like, wait a second. Where the fuck is my bra?
Oh my
God.
God.
Like, what? Someone legit stole my bra. Like, but why though? But like, why? Like, you couldn't have just thrown it in the dryer? Why did you take it? Oh my God. I was so upset. Like, I texted Blue, like, I'm gonna kill someone here. And she's like, oh, okay. That's pretty ratchet. I'm like, yo. People need to get their fucking shit together, dude. Like, why
you
would
stealing
you do
bras
that?
though?
Like, why did you steal my bra? Whoever stole my bra, yo, I hope something bad happens to you. I'm just saying.
Why though?
Like,
do you think, Luca? Do you think that they were just like sniffing it?
I'm gonna kill you.
Ooh, a Luca bra. Mmm.
It was a nice bra though. It was my favorite one, but
Oh,
I still feel
no.
salty about it.
What a weirdo. Well, I'm just going to say that that's weird and disgusting, and I'm sorry that happened to you. I hope you find
a new one.
Yeah, I hope you get a good one, and I hope it's the right size.
Yeah.
Yo, finding the right size is a fucking battle sometimes, though.
Yeah, that's true. It fits so perfectly. It listen, this may be TMI, but it cupped my mounds very nicely. You know, and I was just like, man.
I haven't found the right one for me yet.
Oh my God, they need to cup your what? Your mounds?
Yes, my mounds.
Lord. All right. Fonz, what is your but why though?
Okay, mine is like, but why are people so nosy sometimes? Seriously, like I have this guy at work, okay? He's always getting into my business. And for me personally, like I had I just got a promotion, and within this promotion, I was able to get this car pass to my work. Now, at my job, there's a parking lot that's like 10 minutes away from the actual job. So you got to walk 10 minutes from the parking lot to the job. It's not such a big a deal, but for a lot of people, when you get that car pass and you get to drive right up to the job and you don't have to make that long walk, it's a nice thing. Well, I got this promotion that enabled me to park at the job site, but only when I was doing that particular job. It was like a part-time thing. I'm like a relief guy for this. So I'm only able to do it once, maybe every month. Okay. So, but what I did was I took a couple extra days and I was driving in even when I wasn't doing the job. The bosses didn't care. They told me, hey, don't worry about it. Go ahead and drive in. I said, okay. So I did it. Well, this guy had the nerve to go to my bosses, go to the bosses above them and complain that I was still driving in. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, who cares what I'm doing? Mind your own damn business. Like, I got permission from my bosses to do this, and then you're going above them to complain. And it's like, why do nosy people even exist? Seriously, like, I can't stand when people try to pry into your business all the time. It's like, stay out of my business and just focus on yourself. You might have a better life, you know. I just can't nosy people.
Yeah, I look. we know here that people don't know when to mind their fucking business, and like honestly, I feel like that's a lot of people's problem. Like, yep. Do you feel like you have nothing much going on in your life that you need to be inserting yourself in others? I'm just saying.
And you also got to find, like, you got to be prepared for people that seem like they're trying to be your friend and they're asking you questions, but in reality, they're just gathering information to like just go after you later. It feels like to me, it's like, I just don't understand why people have the nerve to be that way. Like, I don't know. I don't care. Like, I'm living my own life. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I agree.
Facts, dude. People, oh my God, people need to mind their fucking business. People are way too concerned, especially, listen, I'll tell you this off air, but I can relate 100% about people fucking just in my business and me having to do extra stuff so I can, like, you know, continue trying to live my life in peace. People need to mind their fucking business. Like, if you got some goddamn business of your own, you wouldn't be so concerned about what everyone else is doing. I think it's just because people are bored and they're scared. I almost said scared. I don't know why I would say scared. People are bored and they have nothing better to do with their time. So.
Yeah, I agree. I really do. All right. Well, I think that's it for our but why those. If you have any but why those that you want to share, throw them down below. We'd love to hear them. And honestly, like, they're always funny. So let us know what you experienced this week. And we wanna read those comments. All right, let's move on to our plugs. Now, let's let you know where you can find us. Luca, where can they find you?
All right, so you can find me on Twitter at TheAshenLuca. You can find me on Dealer Gaming's channel for RDX Podcast. It is a Xbox-centric just gaming centric podcast that airs Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can check out my Twitter for links on Tuesdays, and Fonz is on the show as well. So I was happy that I was able to convince him to come on the show for a little bit. So. And I just want to say thank you so much for everything. Learning more about you and your insight was very, very appreciated.
Yeah, we really appreciate you being here. I feel that you had a lot to say, which is great, and I personally was really happy to hear a little bit more about you. I'm sure others were too. But tell us where we can find you, Fonz.
You can find me on Twitter at JFonzerrelli, 2 R's, 2 L's, or right here on YouTube. You can find me at Everything According to Me. I make videos on games, and sometimes I delve out into other subjects. So it's not always gaming related, but 99% it's games. Also, I do the RDX podcast with Luca. She already gave the information. And you know what? You didn't have to convince me to come here at all, Luca. You know that I've been listening to this show, and I've been telling you that I think what Blue and you are doing here is fantastic. I think it gets another side of not only this community, but also just hearing what other people have to say with more deep and legit things in life. Like, to me, it's more real, it's more raw, and I really love this forum. So there was no convincing that had to be done. As soon as you asked, like, yes, I'll do it.
Oh,
awesome.
You're so sweet. So all the links will be down below, and we'll also be adding the topics down below. Feel free to check that out later on today. And me, of course, you guys already know this. I'm Blue. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on my Discord server. If you want to join, definitely go ahead and do that.
I just want to say that Blue lives on Twitch. Like, whenever I text her, she's like, I'm streaming. I'm just streaming.
Listen, I go to work.
Like, that's all she does. All she does is stream. I'm like, Blue, I want to talk. She's like, I'm streaming. I'm like, okay, never mind.
I go to work. I come home and I want to stream. I do want to say that we will be doing. I am trying to watch an anime show. We will be doing a watch. For the first time ever. We will be doing a watch together. So I do want to set that up. If you guys are interested, let me know via Twitter DM or join the Discord where I will be organizing it. And it should be fun. Luca's going to be there. So if you guys want to come through just for her, that's awesome too. So yeah, definitely check out our links down below. Comments, anything you want, we comment back. So don't feel like you will be ignored. And we love you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, we love you. Thank you so much. Today was like really emotional, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I feel a lot closer with everyone.
All right. Bye.
Bye.